Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, we're all about highlighting inspiring people, engaging topics, and small businesses. And don't forget, while you're here, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and make sure to like our Facebook page. So much fun stuff going on. All right, today is all about the entertainers in your life. So we love entertainers, specifically singers and songwriters. We love the idea of standing on stage, being able to belt out a ballad or rock the house with your amazing talent. But have you ever thought about what it takes to be a singer-songwriter? Have you ever met one? Me neither. But today I have. Everybody, please welcome Janet Martin. Hi, Janet. How are you?
Hi, I am great. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
No, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here. Because this is something I think a lot of people are interested in because of the internet and YouTube and Taylor Swift and all the things. And singer-songwriting is a whole thing. So first of all, Janet, tell me a little bit about yourself and where you are.
Well, I am in the O'Fallon, Missouri area, and my husband and I are full-time RVers right now, and we are just chilling out close to family and friends and working on my business and enjoying creating music and learning more every day about how to play different instruments, to collaborating with other people and songwriting. And it's been a great experience so far.
Wow. I'm stuck on full-time RV, and that's a whole nother conversation because I'm just thinking RV, little tiny space, me and my husband. Yeah, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes, it
So,
is. A whole different subject matter for sure.
so you said you're making music collaborating. There are so many things I want to talk to you about this singer-songwriting thing. First of all, how long have you been making music and singing and doing all the things?
Unofficially, since I was about 10 years old, officially for at least 30 years. So
Wow.
I'm 29 years old.
That's what I was thinking. I was doing the math, girl.
Yeah. With experience, with some years experience, right? And it's I officially started recording my own music probably in 2000,
Wow.
and it is that itself is a learning experience no matter how long you've been singing. Recording and learning all the ins and outs of that is a whole
Mm,
nother thing as well.
wow. So you said officially, what happened that it became official for you?
I actually started going into producer into a studio and started creating my own songs and writing my own songs. And actually,
Mm,
yes, being able to write and then sing them to yourselves, but then never share them is one thing. But then to and remind you that we did not have the technology we have today where you can just
right.
get on a video screen and just start singing something and then have it go viral, right? Like back then
Right.
it was still grinding and talking to people and sending out CDs and trying to create physical media promotion
Yeah.
packets to send out
Mhm.
and then having to fly to places to have meetings.
Wow.
So when I started recording my own music with different musicians and producers, and just so much learning goes into that as well.
Yeah. I cannot even imagine because I'm thinking of all the things that I do. Yay, technology. If I had to do this all
Yes.
manually by hand, yeah, this would never happen, just so you know. So then now you are official. You're out here
Mhm.
doing all the things. How did you get started collabing with other people? Did you literally just go and knock on some producer's door and go, "Hi, I'm a singer-songwriter. You totally need to hear my song."
Well, I think a lot of it is word of mouth. I remember actually I was living in Alaska of all places, and I met a gentleman who was recording his album, and he would open for the national artists that would come through.
Mm-hmm.
And I started going in, and his producer happened to be also part of his band at the time.
Oh, wow.
So I started, yeah, that's so I was just really networking, and then finding
Mhm.
out other people that also did producing, because his producer actually was somebody who had live musicians come in and play, and then the other two producers that I had worked with,
Mhm.
actually, they were musicians themselves, but they did a lot of stuff on computers, digital,
Oh.
knew how to make beats and things like that, and add them in without
Mhm.
having to bring in a drummer and bring in, all
I
these other
see.
players. Yeah, so
Mhm.
it was, and then
Wow.
trying to figure out what genre I wanted to do. I love country music, I love R&B, I sing, Whitney Houston, and then Martina McBride and Melissa
Mm.
Etheridge. And so I had all this huge selection of music that I love to choose from. And of course, back
Mhm.
then it was, well, you need to pick a genre. And I thought, well, I'm a songwriter. I should be able to do whatever I want. But in
Right?
order to, yeah, but in order to make it, you had to be under
Mm.
one genre of music, and then you could
Right.
expand out. And being up in Alaska was a little challenging because I wasn't here in the lower 48, is what they call it.
Right.
And but I still made connections because I also worked in
Mhm.
radio at the time, and
Okay.
my program director believed in me. He talked to A&R people all the time. He would start talking to
Mhm.
A&R people about me. I then would fly down to Nashville, and I was able to get into a couple of meetings with some
Wow.
labels, and yeah, so networking is key, and
I
definitely
love
who
it.
you know and who you can connect with is hugely
Yeah.
important.
Oh my gosh. So, did you pick a genre? What did you end up sticking with?
I had chosen, my first album was some country, but more contemporary style. And then I
Mhm.
had a little bit of a R&B flavor to it in some of the songs, but I feel like that was my learning album, which I still
Mhm.
have some amazing songs off of that one.
Sure.
And different, it's funny because normally you stick with one producer because there's supposed to be
Mhm.
a particular sound, but
Sure.
in that one I worked with, like, I think 4 or 5 different ones, because I also had moved for a
Mhm.
little bit back to the St. Louis area, and then had to look for a producer here
Wow.
and collaborate, and he was amazing. And
Awesome.
um when you're a singer-songwriter but you are not
Mhm.
a musician, you have to
Mm.
try to get your ideas that's running around in your head
Mhm.
and translate it to the producer who you're working with to get that song done, and pray that it matches what you have in your head. And a lot of
Yeah.
times it's not. And once in a while,
Mhm.
it's even more amazing than you can imagine.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I
so it's,
understand that completely. So let me ask you,
yes.
when did you start writing for yourself?
Uh, Songs was probably back in 99, 2000, but I
Okay.
actually was writing poetry back before that.
Ah.
And of course, when I was a kid, I was listening to, Madonna and, um, you know, all those people from that time
Yeah.
frame. And so I wrote a song called Boy. And it was, yeah, I still remember the song too, but it was a pop song, and
Mhm.
it was my first taste of writing a song. But of
Mhm.
course, I never recorded it, never
Sure.
published it or anything like that. But
Mhm. Mhm.
then I wrote poems through the years, and part of it was for healing. And
Mhm.
some people journal and just write in their diaries, and
Right.
I some people write music, some people write poems, and my poems ended up going into the music area,
Wow.
and it's been pretty amazing.
I bet. You mentioned that you started writing, in the healing process, and I love that because some people do journal, some people do poetry and everything. So, what would you say is the inspiration behind some of the most amazing songs I'm sure that you have written?
Uh, what I've gathered is, one, my songs tend to have a silver lining, that there's
Mm,
hope no matter what the scenario is. Some of the scenarios are from my own experiences. Some of them are from experiences that I've witnessed, or had somebody
wow.
in my life that had
Hmm.
gone through that. Sometimes it was, I had written a story, written a song about a woman, it could be a man too, but a woman
Sure.
laying in her room and seeing all these things that were from her husband, somebody she
Mm,
loved very much, and how she's trying to pull herself out of this, like heaven, and it's called Heaven Can't
wow.
Change. And
Hmm.
I had just finished my CD and had met with this woman that we kept bumping into each other through, through the
Right.
year. And I handed her, we started becoming friends. I handed her the CD and she drove away, and my heart stopped and I gasped and I thought, oh my
Oh,
gosh, she's going to hear that song and she's going to call me. What am I going to say? How's she going to react? And she didn't call
right.
me. Said, how do you get the ideas for your songs? And I said,
Hmm.
well, and then she said, that is me. That is me and my
Wow.
husband, because he passed.
Hmm.
And I
Oh.
realized that God had given me a gift to connect with people and help them
Hmm.
heal and give them a way to like that they're understood, right? Like, oh my gosh,
Right.
how did you know this is what exactly what I'm going through? And
Hmm.
it's just been the most amazing. I have goosebumps just saying that.
I
It's
know.
about connecting with people and making them
Yeah.
feel like, oh my gosh, like it's a hug, right? My songs are like
Hmm.
hugs.
I
That's
like
that's I
that
guess the
so
way best
much.
way to
I love
explain
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because
And
you listen to the radio, and how many of us, and depending on our situation, we will find that song that
yes,
talks about what we're going through and either helps us through it. Because, when I was an eighth grade girl, there was always an existential crisis. I think from eighth grade to like 10th grade, I was always going through it. And there was always a song that would either help you cry it out, help you work it out, or whatever. And I like what you said, the songs are a hug, but it's also a gift for the singer-songwriters that do them. Now, as a singer-songwriter, do you sing all of your own songs, or do you sell them to other artists to sing for you as well?
I have not. Um, I thought I was initially going to do that. I was kind of torn between the two and really wanted
Hmm.
to do both, but I had not gone to that point where I was meeting with different publishers or creating a
Hmm.
publishing company on my own and really like sending stuff out and shopping them. And now, because of the content that I'm writing about, I feel like some of it should go out, but I have a feeling that
Mm,
is going to end up being one of those where it's going to be sang and covered by other
mhm.
people,
Okay.
which is fine
Sure.
with me. Like bring more
Right.
people into the picture, into the
Yeah.
story and into the healing process. So I am good with that. And I think eventually
Okay.
I've been writing so much more lately and so consistently that
Awesome.
now I feel
Hmm.
like this is something that I do want to pay forward and maybe give it to
Oh,
somebody
goodness.
else to do. Yeah.
Yeah. That brings up this question, in our Sue Happy society,
Mhm.
and everybody's looking for something else to be and do. What is the legalities of the things that you're putting out there? Do you have to copyright your stuff, or do you just like, nah, it's out there, do with it what you want, you don't care?
Well, you really should protect your own work, but the good thing now is we usually wait until we come up with a whole album, which we have just
Okay.
done, but we're in the recording process now, doing the
Hmm.
professional stuff. And when we get that done, then we send it to the official copyright. However, the good thing with the way things work now is like our computers have
Hmm.
date stamping internally. So if you end up
Yeah.
having a legal problem where someone has completely stole your song or whatever, then
Hmm.
you can say, okay, I need an expert to take my computer and see
Hmm.
that I have on here that I did write it on this date and I saved it to my system this date. It used to
Okay.
be you would mail your song to yourself, like you would
Hmm.
record on a cassette tape. And some of you are like,
Yeah.
what is a cassette tape? But you would record it on a cassette tape,
Look it
add
up.
your lyrics, right? And then you'd mail it to yourself. And that was like the,
Mhm.
one type of copyright. But then you want to send it
Right.
to the government and do it under that
Hmm.
way. It's just always more professional. But now
Yeah.
I think we have a lot more ways to help keep our content and be able to
Yeah.
to own it until
Hmm.
we do the traditional filing of our music and things like that. So
Hmm.
that's, yeah, you definitely want to protect
That's
yourself.
yeah. Just curious about that. So now, we've got singer-songwriters watching, we've got poets, poets who are watching, we have journalists, if you will, who are watching. What would you tell somebody who is interested in getting into the song part of their journal, their poetry? What kind of advice would you give that person?
Well, if you don't have experience in the songwriting part, find somebody. There's so many organizations now, and you can go on, I think it's like Meetup. It's
Mm,
a app or a website that you can find different groups that from everything from going hiking to
hmm
songwriting, collaborating. There's the like the Nashville Songwriting Association. There are so many people in there that are songwriters and singers, and there's always somebody that you can find, even at
hmm
church, that
hmm
is a musician that can help you create a
Got it.
song that out of
Hmm
something that you feel is important, that especially that you cherish with your heart, and you're like, oh, I want to turn this into a song for my mom, or just for myself, just because this is how I'm feeling about this message.
Right.
And there's always going to be someone. You just have to just get out there and
Find them.
ask.
Yeah,
you know
I love that because you mentioned also that originally you didn't play
Mhm.
any instruments. You just got out there because I know a lot of singer-songwriters. Okay, I've only seen them on TV. I'm just saying, they always play the guitar or they always play the piano and they're making their own songs and doing the whole thing. But what you're saying
Right.
is you don't need to start out like that. Find a musician to put your words to music. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Yeah, I think well, when I was younger, I
Hmm
learned how to play the recorder, but I
hmm
actually was very did a very good job at playing the recorder. My music teacher
hmm
was like I was her prodigy or something. I don't know, it was crazy, but it was a blessing. And I've always been able to pick up instruments and start playing them, when I was a kid. And then just when I got into more of doing the singing, I kept having problems with like I would take guitar lessons, but then my
hmm
guitar lesson would get canceled, or the person was like just not the right fit, or
Right.
work messing up my schedule for my practice, my
hmm
lessons. And then life
Right.
happens, you raise kids, you do all the things.
Right.
And so everyone was like, well, just focus on your singing and focus on your songwriting. Like
hmm
we've got the other stuff, so you just
That's
focus on
good.
those two things and be great at
Hmm
those. So, I mean, you do have to pick one. And there are people that
Yeah.
love songwriting, but they can't sing, they
hmm
can't play an instrument. And so that's where these other musicians come in handy. And it's
Yeah.
amazing what you can create. It's
hmm
its own artwork. It's artwork. It's
Yeah.
like if you see a painting,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
That is so great. I love that. So it's a hug and it's artwork because it is art. But now, Janet, you're also doing some other things, my friend. You are a recent author as well, are you not?
Yes, yes, yes. So,
Tell me about your book.
healing. Well, I was a part of an anthology book, and they've done a lot of them in my area. And so, of course, the constant thing is I'm getting is, oh, did you do it with so and so group or with so and so group? I
Mhm.
said, actually, no. I was networking online with a bunch of women from across the nation. I think maybe some overseas.
Wow.
And we were in a chat, and Michelle Jewsbury had posted, I am looking for authors that want to tell their story of tragedy to triumph. And
Wow.
something lit up in me, and I reached out to her. We had a meeting, and I was the first one that signed up to do this book.
hmm
And but I wasn't the first one to turn in any product, because
hmm
when you are healing and you go through healing, you want to make sure that the story portrays that you're telling
Yeah.
your journey, but it
hmm
is the purpose of, this is what I went through, this is how I dealt with it, and here I am.
Yeah.
And she was amazing at having meetings with me. And I decided I need to do this through God. I need to pray
mm
about it and let Him do His work. And I am very happy the way it came out. And
Yeah.
it is just a little tidbit of things in my life, because some of those tidbits had to do with the decisions that I made along the way.
hmm Sure.
And definitely, I don't think I recommend, if you have not healed, if your wound is still open, it has
mm
not been a scar that you can be like, hey, I have this, like, do you see my,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you're not ready to write. And I wouldn't do that, because even when you are writing as a in the healing part, you
Sure.
still will have some struggles, and
Mm,
you won't know what it
yeah.
is, but
Mm-hmm.
I had to, yeah, it took me a few months and I'm like, why am I feeling this way? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Because you're
because I'm
reliving
telling my
it.
story. Yeah. And
Exactly. You're reliving it.
right.
What's the name of the book, Jen?
It is called Breaking the Silence, Voices
Breaking
of
the Silence.
Survivors. hmm
Okay. Awesome.
And it's Michelle Jewsbury's name is on there. I am
Mm-hmm.
chapter 16. She put me in the sweet
Okay.
16, and it is called God's Grace.
Okay. And it's on Amazon as well, correct? We
It
can
is
go
on
out.
Amazon.
Perfect. And then you have a business also, friend. What's that all about?
Well, I do my songwriting and my
Mm-hmm.
music, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
also a keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help, obviously, heal people, but my thing is to connect in order to communicate.
I
And
like
I
that.
do this on a corporate level, also
Mm-hmm.
faith-based, because I think
Okay.
that a lot of organizations that really want to help people and grow the
Mm-hmm.
community suffer in that aspect. I mean, we're all human,
Yeah.
we all lack skills, and we all need to continuously learn and grow. And
Right.
there's always a stalling point, like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like me singing a song
Mm-hmm.
you may relate to it a certain way, but somebody else may not get what you're saying and they have a totally
Sure.
different aspect. So me
Mm-hmm.
teaching on self-awareness and
Okay.
yeah, communicating and learning how to connect better is something that I'm very passionate about. And I use my music, I use some comedy, I I get
Yeah,
you to
because if
get
you're
up
not
and do some.
laughing, you're crying.
Yeah, exactly. And laughter is the best medicine. I can tell you that for
Exactly.
sure. It is.
100%. Wow. Janet, you are absolutely multifaceted as well as multi-talented. I am so excited about this. So, Janet, if somebody wanted to reach out to you or find you, where's the best place for them to look?
I am on social media. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And I also have my websites, Janet Martin Speaks, because that's what I
Hmm.
do. And I
Okay.
also have Janet Martin Music. Some of my music is already on digital media. So you can go to
Okay.
iTunes, your favorite Spotify, whatever. And my music is there available as well under Janet R. Martin, since there's a Janet Martin out there too.
Oh,
And
okay.
she does Americana style music. So
Hmm.
over the years, she's been doing this as long as I have, maybe a little bit longer. And we've
Okay.
actually had conversations because they tend to
Oh,
like
wow.
cross our stuff.
Overlap.
Oh, yes. So it's yeah.
That's funny. Don't worry, everybody. If you didn't get all that amazing information, all of her contact stuff is going to be in the description below. And don't forget, like and subscribe and share this interview as well as our YouTube channel. And don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. Janet, my friend,
Yes.
before I let you go, we're going to have to play a game.
Okay. I'm
All
up.
right. So this game is called This or That. It's pretty simple. I'm going to give you
Okay.
a choice of a couple of things, and you just tell me which one you like the best. Are you ready to
Okay.
play, my friend?
Let's do this.
Let's do this. All right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Read the book or see the movie?
Ooh. See the movie.
Oh, yeah, me too. I'm so lazy. I don't know what it is. Yellow light. Slow down or speed up?
Ooh. Depends on the situation, but I'd say enjoy the ride.
Okay, I like it so much. When you first meet someone, what's the first thing you notice? Their eyes or their smile?
Oh my goodness. This is funny, but I like to see if their eyes are smiling with their smile.
Oh, that is a whole thing. That is
Yes, it
so good.
is.
I, are their eyes smiling with the smile?
Yes.
But you do. You see some people, they're just like, it's not there. It is not there at
Mm-hmm.
all. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
And finally, Janet, what would you say is the best advice you have ever given?
Oh, oh my goodness. Mm. treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. If we had more of that,